Niacin-enriched versus whole food-based diets. What really works long-term? There's something deeply modern and mildly suspicious about eating a piece of bread that's been scientifically enhanced with niacin, as if your toast were undergoing self-improvement therapy. Fortified foods have long been the public health go-to for plugging nutritional gaps, and niacin, vitamin B3, has been a central character in this saga. Originally added to processed grains in the mid-20th century to curb pellagra, a disease that once plagued populations surviving on cornmeal and lard, niacin fortification was undeniably a nutritional success story. But fast forward a few decades, and the conversation has shifted. We're no longer asking, will I get pellagra? But instead, is all this synthetic niacin actually helping or slowly making me combust from the inside out? At first glance, niacin-enriched foods seem like a solid idea. They boost intake, especially in populations with low access to nutrient-dense diets. And niacin is crucial. It supports over 400 enzymatic reactions, facilitates energy metabolism, DNA repair, and keeps mitochondria from revolting. So what's not to love? Well, dosage, context, and biochemistry. The form of niacin added to fortified foods is typically nicotinic acid or niacinamide, and it's not there in small, natural amounts. One slice of enriched white bread might contain the same niacin as an entire handful of almonds or a full serving of liver, without the accompanying fiber, cofactors, or balancing nutrients. When you eat several servings of fortified cereals, breads, and snacks in a single day, especially alongside supplements, you can easily exceed the recommended dietary allowance, RDA, by several hundred%. And that's when the body starts sending polite biochemical feedback. Symptoms like skin flushing and tingling? That's your body saying, thanks, but we've got enough. More troubling, though, are the metabolic byproducts, specifically N-methyl, 2-pyridone, 5-carboxamide, 2-PY, and 4-PY, which accumulate when excess niacin is metabolized. These compounds have been linked to vascular inflammation, impaired renal clearance, and oxidative stress, especially in people with reduced kidney function or pre-existing cardiometabolic disease. So the same vitamin once hailed as a hero against nutrient deficiency may, at high levels, begin to act more like an agent of chaos. Now contrast that with a whole food-based diet, where niacin comes embedded in the complex architecture of actual food. Think salmon, turkey, mushrooms, legumes, and sunflower seeds, not a lab coat in sight. In these foods, niacin is delivered alongside synergistic nutrients, amino acids that enhance absorption, fiber that slows glycemic response, and antioxidants that protect against oxidative damage. The dose is proportionate, the absorption rate more regulated, and the body can actually use the niacin as intended, rather than scrambling to neutralize excess. More importantly, whole food niacin doesn't spike blood levels the way isolated forms can. It enters the bloodstream gradually, in concert with other macronutrients, keeping the liver from going into metabolic overdrive. Whole food niacin also doesn't seem to lead to overproduction of inflammatory metabolites. It supports NAD levels more gently, helping maintain mitochondrial function, DNA repair, and sirtuin activity over time, without the toxic tipping point that can come with enrichment overload. Basically, whole food niacin knows how to knock without kicking the door down. And while niacin from supplements has been studied in pharmacological doses for cholesterol lowering, sometimes exceeding 2,000 milligrams per day, it comes with asterisks: flushing, liver enzyme elevations, glucose intolerance, and paradoxically, an increased risk of all-cause mortality in some trials. That's a pretty serious fine print for a vitamin. No such warnings come with lentils. To be fair, food fortification still has its place. In regions where food insecurity is high and nutrient diversity is low, enriched staples can prevent deficiency-related diseases. But in higher-income populations where niacin status is often more than adequate, the question is no longer how do we get more, but how do we stop the excess from backfiring? What began as a public health necessity has, in some cases, morphed into a stealthy form of nutrient overload. So what really works long-term? Whole food-based diets, hands down. They deliver niacin in safe, bioavailable forms, support metabolic balance, and let's not forget, taste way better than a brick of fortified cereal. They also contain the full orchestra of micronutrients, phytochemicals, and enzymes that help vitamins do their job without toxic side gigs. It's not just the presence of niacin that matters, but the context, and the context of real food is almost always more favorable than a synthetic sprinkle on ultra-processed grains. In the end, our cells aren't fooled by fortification. They know the difference between nutrients delivered with care, wrapped in protein, fiber, and fat, and those shoved into sugary loops or fluffy buns like an afterthought. Niacin is essential, yes, but like all good things in life, it's best when it comes dressed as food.